Good morning and happy blessed Friday. I was driving in my car and it was in the morning time. And I was going into work and I was hit with these questions and thoughts. And so I had to hurry up and get to work to stop in order to write it down so I wouldn't forget. But I think it stems off of the idea that everyone wants to be right, everyone wants to be justified. And so the questions that I came up with, or the dialogue, question and answers that were rolling through my head, is if you learn the proper way to do something, do you continue to do what you're used to? That was the question. And then the answer that came shortly thereafter was yes, because whenever implementing change, it happens gradually. The same way it took time to learn something, it may take even more time to make the necessary shifts because nothing happens overnight. And when you're used to doing something, you learned how to do that at a young age, and that took time. So the next thought was, do you share what you've learned or know with high expectations? And high expectations meaning that the ones that you share what you know with, do you expect them to take heed? And if so, why? And the thought that followed that question was, all we can ever do is share what we know or what we have, and then allow the people around us to do with the information what they will. And then it isn't up to us to judge them or force our knowledge and understanding or views or perspectives on them. We shouldn't force it. We should just give it freely with no expectation. And we shouldn't judge them. We shouldn't judge them for either picking it up or putting it down. We should actually be seeing them for who they are and where they're at. I think sometimes in life, everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to have the right answer. And honestly, there's no way of really knowing, right? We could go by what research says. We can go by the Q&As of like taking a test, you study, you sit down, you read, and based off of what you read, those are how the questions are formulated. But sometimes it's deeper than what is written, and sometimes it goes deeper than what is sitting in front of you. And then, what I've learned in my graduate studies was that it was a lot of research, right? And just because research wasn't done on a particular topic or matter didn't mean that there weren't answers out there or answers that conflicted with the answers that were given. And so in learning that, I just try to look at it in terms of life, look at it in terms of people who are around us, and taking in information. And not that you have to take in so much information and apply everything that you're given, but if it feels right in your spirit and it makes sense, and there is something to back it up that justifies or confirms it, well, then that's the direction that I feel like one should go. But it isn't someone's job to force or push, or then harshly judge another person if they don't see the space or perspective that you're in. And in the end, we only know based off of the paths that were given to us by God. And when we meet him, then we'll be able to find out if or whether we were right or wrong. And so there's a fine line that you're walking. You don't want to force, you don't want to push, you don't want to make you feel more justified than you are. Because again, as I started, everyone always wants to be right, or everyone wants to be right. No one wants to be wrong. And I don't have a competitive spirit. I more so want to know and feel confirmed within. And that could just be for me and not for everyone. And in knowing that everyone has a different path, well, what works for me might not work for you. So, just a thought. Thank you for listening. I love you. Happy Blessed Friday.